Hi, I'm Amy Smaller, CEO of Strategic Market Insight. And today's installment for this blog post is reading, and it's one of the 7 things that every person should master. So in the first video, I actually gave an overview of all the 7 things that every person should master, and it came from an article in my local newspaper, the Boston Globe, and the title of the article was 7 Things Every Kid Should Master. And I completely agree that there's 7 things every kid should master, but I also think there are things, all 7 things, every person should do no matter how old they are. And I know as we get older, we feel we're too busy or don't have time and say, I don't need to focus on that. But I'm developing this series because I think it's very important to give yourself and allow yourself time. So the 7 things, as a reminder, that every person should master are reading, inquiry, flexible thinking and use of evidence, conversation, collaboration, engagement, and well-being. So with the reading, a lot of us know there's science that says by doing the reading, your brain's able to, increase the connections and the neural connectivity, and you're just activating a lot of different things in your brain and also activating different types of hormones and chemicals in your body that can be positive when you're reading things. So I think that's very important. But what I wanted to share with you is that just from the personal sense and my own experience with reading is, I enjoy it. I always get to learn something, get it from a different perspective or thought process that I may not have thought of or approached that way. The other part too, it doesn't have to be all nonfiction or serious stuff. I would say the fiction part, and like I say with my kids, you can make a movie in your mind, which I guess you could do with nonfiction too. But especially fiction, you sort of make a movie and you get lost in what that is. And so it's a great way to do that as well. But with the first post of the overview, I got a couple things saying, Amy, there's no way I can do all 7 of these things at once. And especially I don't have time for reading. And I say, well, you know what, you don't have to do all 7 every day. It's a marathon, not a sprint. There's some things though, which I would argue reading is one of them that you can do on a daily basis, even if it's 10 or 15 minutes. Another thing that they said, I like reading books, and others said, well, what do you mean Facebook and LinkedIn aren't part of reading? And I say, they are, because you do have to read. The challenge with that being your only reading is you're not really giving yourself time to think and process. You're going from one thing to the other and just kind of scrolling real quick. So I would argue, yes, you are reading, but it's not fully engaged, intentional reading. The other question I got a lot of, well, that's awesome reading, but what kind of books do you read? And do you have buckets of books? Do you have times where you read them during the day? So what I'll spend the next couple of minutes is sharing with you the different books or types of books that I read and how I bucket them, and where I found for me personally, which are good times to really read and focus on them. But I would say, again, this is just my opinion and my experience. You all have your own personal times of day of reading in different buckets that you like to make. But I was asked to share mine, so I'll share here, and I have 4 buckets that I'll share with you. So the first bucket I look at are ways that I can improve my business strategy, the way I connect with the customers and clients and audiences, and also understanding some of my clients' points of view and what they're dealing with. So to that perspective, or to that piece, one book that I have is The Millionaire Messenger by Brendon Burchard. Now that for me, an entrepreneur as I am, it's really helpful, tidbits, and, you have lots of questions and ways to approach and think about business. And for me, I found that engaging because I have a whole journal that I have associated with this book. So I take time to think about and work on my business. Another book that I read recently is Rocket Fuel, and that's by Gino Wickman and Mark Winters, and Mark is a friend of mine, so I would highly recommend this book as well. All of these books I'm going to talk about are great books. But this one is interesting because it talks about different types of leadership styles and how you need more than one in an organization at times. So maybe I'm in trouble because it's just me. But it really is a nice way to talk about, for larger organizations, how you can build a great company. So if I ever want to join with another company or create another business with a partner or help to understand what some of my clients are going through, this has been a great resource. So business learning is one category. Another category I have is learning different sciences, because I have a love of the sciences and the life science, sociology, biology, psychology, things like that. So two books that I like in this realm as examples. One is Thinking Fast and Slow. A lot of you may have heard this one, the System 1, System 2, conscious, unconscious parts of your brain and how it works. And I find it fascinating. And if you'll notice, I have my bookmark. I started reading parts of it again because I know there's some things over my head. So I want to read it and really learn some of this. And there's great examples. Another book I'm doing is How Not to Be Wrong, The Power of Mathematical Thinking. Now, I like this kind of reading too because it pushes me a bit in what I'm used to reading or what I'm used to thinking. Black Swan actually is another one that kind of blew my mind a bit when I read that. So that's a really great one. A third bucket that I put my books into are my own personal Amy Smaller self-help builder reminder, grounder, if you will. Two examples of books that I've read recently are Thrive by Arianna Huffington. And from this one, I've enjoyed it because, from her unfortunate collapse a few years ago, but saying, you know what, you need sleep, Amy. Yes, you need sleep. I know it, but hearing about it, here's ways to do it. You need to put down your phone, Amy. You need to be more engaged, Amy, things of that sort. And there's some nice tidbits that I can take from that. Another book for that is The Motivation Manifesto, which is another book by Brendon Burchard. And this one is great. I have it on my desk and then on my nightstand. I'll take it up at nighttime too, because reading from front to back, it's 9 declarations to claim your personal power. And he really speaks to pretty much everyone. You'll find something in there for yourself. But there's times when I can look and I say, okay, well, I've read it, but I'm having a little trouble dealing with this right now. And I can go to the chapter. And it kind of walks me through and reminds me that it's okay. Breathe. It's okay. So from that, it's a great resource. The fourth bucket I'll talk about today are kind of I don't want to say silly, but fun books to read that I laugh or chuckle when I'm reading them. And I'm like, wow, how did they even think of that? Books, that kind of thinking. And so Malcolm Gladwell is one of those, like What the Dog Saw is one that I have of his right now. And then 2 books by the same authors, Freakonomics, and then Stephen Dubner and Stephen Levitt's new book, When to Rob a Bank, and other pieces from their blog posts. And so that, I think, I love to read those. They're shorter. So if I've gone through the day and I haven't read as much as I wanted, I can pick up one of these books and read, 10, 20 pages and not too long and learn something new oftentimes, or think, oh my goodness, how did they even come up with that? So so those are the 4 buckets of different kind of books. The business, developing my business, developing, learning something new in the science field is one I also like. Self-help is one, and motivation and grounding is the third. And just kind of the fun, tidbits, just kind of get lost and just kind of sit back book for me. And I like, those are my favorites to read at nighttime, before going to bed. I had a busy, intense, energetic day, but then getting ready to just sort of settle down and have a good night's sleep, which I need to do. Reading is really helping me do that. So I hope you've enjoyed the little bit of time we had together today in this video, and the first, full week installment with week 1 with reading. Keep your eye out for the upcoming weeks, and be sure to share and like this video. The other thing I will be doing, because I've been asked and it's been requested to do this, and I think it'd be a great way to serve the audience to have it all together, I will be developing a full module of this, so all these will be together. And I'll even have some downloadable sheets in our tidbits, for this week for reading, here's some of the really good books that I've read lately, and different resources for that as an option. And then week 2, which is inquiry, I'll have a worksheet that I've developed for myself that I just kind of keep some questions that I ask myself. And so there'll be things like that every week. So again, don't forget to like and or share this video, and I hope you have a great day.